Good afternoon. It's barely afternoon. It's 11:11 down here, which what makes it 12:11 up there. Yeah, that's about right. I'm making sure everything is working here. It doesn't sound like it, but it is. Okay. So anyhow, try to get this done fast. We have football starting at 12 o'clock now because of the time difference, so we get the early games early. And then what's really good about this is the night games. You know, they're coming and we're not loud. I mean, they're not late games for us. It's two spectacular games Thursday and Friday. Unfortunately, Green Bay lost their starting quarterback for 3 to 6 weeks. I understand that's not good. That's not really nice. Sorry to see that happen. Surprised there weren't more injuries because everybody was complaining about the turf and trying to find the right shoe and everything to wear. So that was part of that. All right, so let's get on with it now. All right, I have an opinion involving these mass shootings. I believe that to a certain degree, media contributes to this. You're taking a disturbed young man or woman, who's not getting the help that they need, not being properly diagnosed or whatever you, and they're watching TV. And they get this information, and they seem to think that these kids that are doing these shootings are somewhat a hero. They're getting the publicity, and a lot of times that's all that kid is looking for is some attention. You say, well, he had attention. His father took good care of him. His father gave him the gun. Did the father ever sit down with him and talk about guns? Did the father ever sit down with him and discuss something that wasn't prejudicial or racist or anything like that? Did he just have a nice conversation with him? Hey, what'd you think about the game Saturday? You don't want to play football? Okay, well, that's all right with me. You do what you... Sports-wise, you could do what you want. Academically, you could do what you want. A conversation, but they don't do that. And the media is their babysitters, their parents, their guardians, whatever have you, and I just don't think that's right. Okay, that's a story that's going to go on for a while. That's not something that just started today. That's a story that's going to continue for a long time, and unfortunately, and I don't know when or if they're going to ever do something about it. We just have to sit back, wait and see, Ain't that the way things work? Okay. What else have I got to talk about this morning? Oh, okay. We have this issue where I don't think the Republicans want you to vote. I watched this, and I read a video that goes back to 1964, when they thought that Kennedy's, or 1960, I think they said, something like that, 64. It had to be 60 because 64 Kennedy was dead. That Kennedy stole the election, and the Democrats have. And they said that this has been used for 60 years. This who stole what? The Republicans have been claiming that election fraud and the election. And the funny thing about this is, not once in those 60 years have the Democrats ever complained about it. The Democrats accepted that it is what it is, even when they lose. I think sometimes that the people the Democrats have put up, they wanted to lose, but that's besides the point. Anyhow, but that's when there was a lot of, the ability to compromise was still there, but it's not there anymore. So, Okay. So that's an issue, you know, and they're going to do it again. They're preparing themselves to do it again. Trump's preparing himself to lose a debate and still come out a winner. Kamala's got a lot of work to do if she wants to win this election. She has to be able to get a compromise, somehow or another, get the undecided vote to go her way. She's losing male votes, which I don't understand, you know, because males, see, that's what I was waiting for to happen anyhow, because men don't want a woman president. You know, American men don't want to be bossed around by a woman, you know, and I'm sorry, but, you know, she's the best candidate out there right now. Republican or Democrat or Independent. That's it. If there was somebody else to vote for, I might have made another choice, but there wasn't. All right, it would have been a very tough decision for me had Biden stayed in, because, you know, I don't think Biden could win. I think Biden was a nice guy that just, you know, couldn't win. I'm not sure Kamala can win, but Kamala is the best possible decision we can make right now. All you have to do is look at it, take a look at the way they handle everything, you know, the Republicans, and I think that, you know, just about every Republican should be voted out of office. But there are some crazy people in this world. Okay? Once again, I'm seeing articles come up showing the similarities between Trump and Hitler. And it's not so much Hitler, but it is fascism and his decisions that are similar to those decisions, you know. Hitler picked out the Jews to hate and to blame for everything. And problem in America is that the white people have always looked at blacks as a problem. I remember the affirmative action when it went into a place. I remember a white student sued the school because he couldn't get in because of it. I think that's how it ended. That might have ended affirmative action. I'm not sure. I don't remember everything. You know how I am. I'm a little scatterbrained. Even if I do research, I'll forget it. Plus, I can't read my writing anymore. So anyhow, they would blame white people constantly. You know, a dumb white kid is blaming the fact that this black kid got into school and that he should have gotten into school because he'll be able to get a job. A black kid won't be able to get a job. You know, that was a big argument about affirmative action, and that's what, you know, white people complained about that. Why black people were stealing their jobs. Now it is the Latinos that are stealing their jobs. The black people they were referring to were the ones that worked at McDonald's, the ones that were working on the farms down south and everything like that. They were taking jobs from them. Now they do. They take high quality jobs from people because they're educated, and they've proven that they can be educated, that they're just as smart as everybody else. You know, the color of their skin doesn't make any difference about what's going on inside them. Because let's face it, folks, we're all the same on the inside. You know, well, not everybody. There's some people are really rotten on the inside, you know, but we're basically the same on the inside. Pink and cute. I don't like excuses, you know, for not doing something. I watch, because I would get upset watching these kids that had all this potential screw themselves over by, you know, something or another, you know, white kids most of the time. Some black kids. There were several black kids in my high school that I watched. Tremendous athletes. Could have been the all-pro, could have been a world champion boxer or whatever, and they went out and screwed their lives over because of the drugs. And the drugs came into their lives because of their lifestyle. They were poor people living in a poor neighborhood, and back then the drugs were an escapism. I mean, I saw a white kid in my class behind me committed suicide drinking Southern Comfort and some drug. I forget what he took. They said the goofballs. I don't know what they were made of back then, but there were sedatives to a certain degree, if I remember correctly. Never had one of those. Did a lot of drugs. Never did a goofball. Never did a Quaalude either. I did some drugs legally that I probably shouldn't have done, because of the effects they had on my mind. But that's what you do when you're young. You experiment. And back then, that was the big thing, because this was an experiment. We were beginning to be, the '60s were the beginning of the experimentation. All these new things were coming around. Plus, your parents were both working. Your parents were working in some cases, depending on your economic level, 2 jobs, both of them. So kids were being raised by in-laws, neighbors. The term latchkey child came in, where the kid had a key and was supposed to go home after school, not let anybody else into the house. They let other people into the house. They didn't always go home. You saw the free love of the hippie generation that screwed up a lot of kids too. The fact that, like I had a friend of mine, graduated high school, went to college at the University of Susquehanna, football player, full ride. Took him half a season to get thrown out of school. He, party this, party that, drinking, not being able to play. They threw him out of school. And back then, you get thrown out of school, they notify your draft board, and hello, Vietnam. So he got married. And the second time, by the time I saw him after his high school, he would have been a sophomore in high school when I ran into him, college rather. When I ran into him again, when he came back home, living in a 1.5 room apartment, what did they call it, studio apartment, and not the greatest neighborhood. He was never a real smart kid. He was an athlete. But anyhow, he's there with his wife and his kid, and he's the most unhappy human being I've ever seen in my life, And at that time I had joined the National Guard, and he looked at me, and he said, I should have done that. Yeah, you should have done a lot of things, man. You should have not have, gone to college and thought it was a party. And Susquehanna's a party school. I had a friend of mine that went there, graduated. It's still a party school. They owned a farmhouse. Trust me, it was a party school. But these were also smart kids, Smart kids can survive a party school. Average intelligence kids or athletes cannot survive a party school. They either come out of the school thinking they're the greatest thing in the world, or they come out of the school with their brains fried. My friend Mike came out of the school with his brain fried. I don't even know what he was doing for a living back then. When he came out, I mean, he was never bright in high school, and I don't think those were the days when. My high school was a pretty good football power, and whether you were white or black, if you were a good football player, you graduated. I talked to you talk to these kids later on, and you understand that they barely graduated because they could barely talk when they were in school, and now they graduated. All right, so listen up. First full season of the football season. Let's see how it plays out. And if anybody could tell me how to hook into NBC from down here in Columbia so that I can watch that that debate live, let me know. I'm not gonna, without paying money, because I don't have any extra money to pay for that stuff. I'm not gonna buy a whole season of streaming NBC for just so I can watch a debate. Uh, Especially the problems I have with some of the streaming stations down here. All right, so listen, that's going to be me for Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what time, but we'll see you tomorrow.